Welcome back to Scarlet and Maze. I'm Adam.
I'm Zach.
Just so you know, starting next week, new episodes will come out Tuesday mornings. Just so that, I don't know, I feel like we're going way too late here.
Yeah.
Late in the week. Week 4 recap, the lesser interesting of the two games. Ohio State 17, Notre Dame 14. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, my first thoughts was it was an incredible game. Like, it was... I mean, Ohio State had the biggest lead briefly. They were up 10-0 in the third
I thought
quarter.
they were about to win 17-0.
Yeah, I thought they were going to pull. I thought they would
Yeah.
stop them again and get another touchdown. Yeah, I thought 17-0 seemed realistic. But then Notre Dame responded. They answered. They had that long touchdown drive, and it was just a great game. And I thought it was incredible the way the team and Kyle McCord just never flinched on that last drive. They just moved down. I mean, they faced a 3rd and 19 and some tough stuff on that drive, and just had to have ice in the veins and get it done. I thought Kyle McCord was incredible most of the game. He made clutch throws. He was great on 3rd down. He was almost perfect on that last drive. And then the defense was great. I mean, other than the 2 long touchdown drives that Notre Dame had, they pretty much shut them down. There was a lot of talk, even from the commentators kind of pushed it, like, the whole first half, like, Sam Hartman was playing this perfect game, like he was Tom Brady out there.
He was throwing 3-yard passes.
I was like, what is like? I'd never experienced commentators like, where a quarterback more that had 0 points at halftime. I don't want to say. I couldn't think of a better word for it, but Sam Hartman. He was throwing well. He was completing all the passes. They were picking up first downs, but they just couldn't finish the drives, and they missed field goals. Didn't convert on 4th down. They had 0 points, and the commentators were acting like he was Tom Brady. I thought that was crazy, and Ohio State proved.
I did not think going in that it was going to be 3-0 at halftime.
Right. Well,
there were a lot of drives ended or missed field goals or whatever. But I texted you during the game like, this is hilarious.
Yeah, it was.
No one could score.
It was a weird game. Yeah, Ohio State failed to convert on the goal line in the first half, and they also failed to convert on 4th down in the second half. And yeah, there was a lot of plays like that. Notre Dame failed to convert on 4th down a couple times. But yeah, it was just a weird game, but it was also a great game. It was really fun to watch from beginning to end. I was locked in and entertained. I don't think I missed a play. But also in the clutch, JTT had two huge plays with the tackle for loss and breaking up that screen. That breaking up that screen was huge, stopping the clock.
That may be why they won.
Yeah, it was probably why they won. I mean, they obviously had to do more after that too, but it helped give them. They might not have had the opportunity without that play.
Right.
Because I saw someone even showed like there was nobody back to defend that screenplay. Like it might have gone for a touchdown even. Some things I'd like to see improve. At least they got to finish drives. We talked about the turnover on downs a few times. They had 5 drives of over 60 yards, and only 2 of them were touchdowns. And one of them was the 61-yard touchdown run. And so when you're driving way down the field and only getting 2 touchdowns on 5 drives, it's a little disappointing. But yeah, they got to finish the long drives more. But yeah, I thought it was a great game. I think this will give them a lot of momentum going into the bye week, and I think Ohio State's in a great spot for the season.
Yeah, congratulations. Ohio State won. I feel like, honestly, Marcus Freeman kind of lost this game more than Ohio State won it. Just because Notre Dame got the ball up 3, 4:12 left. They had a 91% win probability. I think that's ESPN's thing.
Yeah.
But if they just run the ball, they probably run out the clock, or at least most of the clock, or at least take away the timeouts and whatever. But they didn't. In the second half, Notre Dame's drives lasted.
Can I comment on that real quick?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you could say the same thing. Like, say they killed the clock with that 4 minutes left, then you would just say the same thing about Ryan Day's 4th down play call in the previous drive. Like, if Ohio State, do feel like Ryan Day beat themselves against Notre Dame. Like, if they convert on that 4th down, they probably win the game.
Yeah, that could be. It did seem to me like it was 2 guys who were like, let me make a dumb decision.
Yeah.
Let me make a dumb decision.
Yeah, that 4th down call was bizarre.
Yeah, but so their second half drives, Notre Dame's time of possession was 3:35, 7:39, and 6:28, and none of those were with the intent of bleeding the clock down to all zeros. Before their 2:46 final real drive. So it was their shortest drive of the half.
Yeah.
And they needed to burn clock. Notre Dame averaged 5 yards per carry on 9 carries the last 2 drives. All they had to do is just run the ball. In worst case, Ohio State has to use the timeout that ended up being used to stop the clock after the intentional grounding. Best case for them is they get a first down and the game is over. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Ryan Day might be a good coach, but his rant after the game had to be a joke, right?
I don't know. Like I don't know if it was serious or if it was like a thing where he's like, all right, I'm gonna see, like, I'm gonna have a little fired up interview, see how the team reacts to that. Like maybe it was like one of those things where he just was putting on a show, you know. But
my thing is, he said they were proving their toughness by running on their game-winning touchdown, but all other high-pressure, short yardage plays looked like this. In the second quarter, 0-0, 4th and goal from the 1, incomplete pass. Fourth quarter, 14-10 Notre Dame, 4th and 1 at the 11, jet sweep, which you need 1 yard. Could you not do the Bush push quarterback sneak, the Jalen Hurts thing, instead of running sideways? Whatever. Yeah. And then the last possession, 14-10, 3 plays from the 1, and I get that one of the passes is because of the clock, but incomplete pass, pass, and then a touchdown run. That was just weird to me.
Well, it's not that weird because, like, if you run the ball on the last possession, I'm just talking about.
But if you're proving your toughness,
well, okay, so
you need a yard.
But yeah, if you want your, it doesn't make sense to run the ball on the first play when you have 2 plays.
No, I said I'll give him 1, but yeah, go.
Yeah, so the first incomplete pass was the spike, right?
Oh yeah, probably.
So the first incomplete pass was the spike, and then the second incomplete pass was there wasn't enough time on the clock for them to run the ball. But once it was the last play of the game,
if you're not sure you're going to get 1 yard, then you're right.
No, it's not whether you're not sure or not. If you're sure you can get 1 yard running the ball, why wouldn't you take a shot throwing the ball too? Like then try to run the ball.
Yeah.
Because then it's less risky. But
whatever, that's fine. But for the second quarter, 4th and goal at the 1, you pass it. Fourth quarter, you're down by 4. You're at the 11. You do a jet sweep.
Yeah,
it was just weird to me that you're like, oh, we had to show we're tough. And it's like, you were trying all game not to prove you were tough.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. They like, it's more than just getting short yardage just to prove you're tough. Like, I mean, you still have to block every play.
Yeah, you got to block. Okay, hold on. You got to block 10 guys with 11 guys.
Every play.
I'm saying the last 2 plays, Notre Dame had 1 too few players.
Oh, yeah.
And they barely got in.
Well, I mean, you're still, like, the quarterback's not blocking everybody, so the offense is down a guy anyway.
Yeah. 1 yard is notoriously hard to gain. But anyways, for a guy with the big, huge balls needed to go on national TV with his best Hulk Hogan impression and call out an 86-year-old former Notre Dame coach, that play calling, like I said, doesn't seem like he does think his team is as tough as he was saying. To me, 1 yard. All right, jet sweep. 1 yard. All right, pass.
But those weren't the only plays on those short yardage situations. Like, they had a couple attempts on the 4th and 1. They had a different attempt. I don't remember what the 3rd and 1 play was, but they had 3rd and 1. And I remember thinking they should have passed it and then tried to up the middle. But then I don't remember what they did exactly. But no, yeah, there was some question. There was maybe 3 questionable play calls. But that doesn't really add up to his statement. But I still think that doesn't mean that you're not tough because you called plays that didn't show your toughness at certain points in the game.
I do love that
because there's still finesse to football. It's not all about toughness.
The
but there's definitely times
the guy that he called
tough.
out is like this senile old man talking to an impersonator of himself.
Yeah, I never saw the full video.
Weird thing.
Yeah, that was so weird.
Anyways, he looks a lot like my grandma before she died.
Goodness.
Let me just say this: Ryan Day is stupid for kicking the extra point with 1 second left up 2. Because how's Notre Dame going to get a field goal?
What else?
2 or 3 is the same thing. Kneel it. Because what if it gets blocked and returned?
I don't know.
Very low probability. I'm just saying, you got to think, Ryan Day, you friggin' idiot. I just thought it was funny. I mean, I'm mostly joking, but
right.
From like a, it would make more sense. That it might be 99.99% win, kicking the extra point to 100% win, taking a kneel. kneel down, whatever.
I don't think that changed at all.
I mean,
especially after the play.
They won the game. But in his rant, I thought it was funny. He mentioned one bad half when they were outscored 28-3 in the second half against Michigan last year and 28-14 in the second half against Michigan 2 years ago. In my mind, the 28-3 second half is worse. Like, they got beat by more at home.
I think he said in the last like 2 seasons specifically, and my interpretation of that is this year and the year before. And so then
he said there was in the press conference. He said 2 years ago in Ann Arbor. He referenced Ann Arbor during it, so he meant the 28-14. But yeah, it just doesn't really make sense to me. He's obviously done really well, so whatever.
Right? Yeah. I don't know.
I just thought it was funny. He goes, "Well, one bad half," and he's lost the last the games in the second halves. It's not like he was trying to come from behind. Michigan 31, Rutgers 7. I had a surprising amount of people with varying degrees of gotcha bring up this game again as an example of how Michigan is struggling, but I really don't understand that. So Rutgers had a big pass play.
Wait, can I say my thoughts first? They're really short.
Sure.
My only thoughts are this is probably a better win than Michigan is getting credit for.
Dang.
Rutgers is a solid team this year.
Look at that.
That's all I've got.
Well, I feel like I shouldn't even talk now. No, but so Rutgers scored on their third play of the game, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a weird day. But Sainer still slipped, and then Rod Moore was in his first series this season, and he maybe slipped too, but he got beat, whatever, on his first series of the season. And then...
can't slip against Marv.
No. But then Rutgers only gained 182 yards the rest of the game. So Michigan went 3-and-out on their first series, but then scored on every following drive the rest of the game except for a missed field goal.
Yeah.
Before ending the game on a 7-minute drive that saw time expire at the Rutgers 22-yard line.
Wow.
So in the second half, not counting the game-ending 7-minute drive, guess how many drives Michigan had?
2. Boom.
Dude, it took 13 minutes on those 2 drives, and they got 10 points while giving up 0 second half points. But I mean, I'm honestly with you. I said last week that I love that we're at a point in history where people try to talk trash about a 31-6 Michigan win, and we're still obviously here. Michigan outgained Rutgers 415 to 257. They ran for 5 yards per carry against a decent defense. J.J. McCarthy went 17 and 19 after the first drive for 214 yards and a touchdown, no picks.
Yeah.
Michigan blew them out, and they just blew them out in a Harbaugh fashion, which is more suffocating on defense and draining clock, while slow scoring on offense, just not like
especially the way
sexy blowout.
Especially the way Michigan plays with the new clock stuff. I feel like this is equivalent to like a 50-10 win.
Yeah,
like
it's like Virginia basketball winning by 25.
Right. Yeah. That's fair, especially with the new clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's what it honestly, for me too, I'm like, I wish they were up by more. But then as the game goes on, you're like, oh, they haven't scored.
Yeah.
Oh, they had one big play, and that was literally it all game. And then they struggled to even get first downs. So whatever. Scarlett and May's pick standings. I went 7-2 this week, 34-5 overall. You went 9-1, got the bonus point.
What did I get wrong?
I don't remember without looking at it.
Yeah, I remember. Probably Northwestern. You got to be Northwestern, yeah.
34-8 overall, so I'm beating you by about 7%, a little over 6%. But hopefully you do a little worse this week. We had one viewer question. What did you think of Ryan Day calling out an old man?
I love it. I thought, like, he's fired up for his guys. Like, that can't, like, I just don't see that ever turning off a football team. Like if you see your coach fired up, you're gonna get fired up. Like, I think that's awesome. And I also saw a report from one of the big recruit scouting guys saying that like recruits love it. He's one of the guys that like predicts where the recruits are gonna go and stuff, and is all in on that. But he was saying that recruits love it. So I'm like, I'm all for it. If you want to get hyped up, get hyped up. Like, I don't think you can go wrong with yelling a little bit, you know? Even and it wasn't anything, like, he didn't say anything too crazy or aggressive, and he was just saying that he loves his guys and he wanted to defend his guys. I thought that was great.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny. Like, how did he hear it, first of all? Because it was a pregame show, wasn't it? But also,
I don't know.
maybe it was the day before.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was throughout the week.
But still, like, Notre Dame hasn't been calling him soft. Mainly Michigan people have been calling him soft. But whatever.
Well, I think
I did love Lou Holtz's response of, like, of course he doesn't want to talk about Michigan.
Yeah, which was also kind of dumb. Like,
because he said 0-2.
The comment from he said 0-2, which Ryan Day's not 0-2, and he's 1-2, and really would be 2-2 if Michigan didn't back out of the COVID.
If Dan Villari wouldn't have played, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think the Lou Holtz comments were ignorant from go, and like it was just like one of the weirdest comments I've ever seen. Like, oh, you're supposed to be tough. Well, why didn't you beat this best team ever and this best team ever and like this team that was really good?
I mean,
and
I
this
don't
team
think
that was
2021
really good.
Michigan was the best team ever.
Oh, I wasn't talking about Michigan. I was talking about when they lost to Alabama in the national championship game. When they lost to Georgia, who went on to the national championship. Like, those are the best teams in the country that year. And then they lost to a top 3 team in the country the other 2 games in the last.
I mean, I honestly would say 2021 Michigan was only top 3 because they muscled Ohio State the way they did and made it into the playoff. But they also, like, ran for 5 touchdowns. Like, they really did just overpower Ohio State.
Right, yeah, I agree. And, like, yeah, there was a lack of toughness in those games. But, I don't know, it's just to make it seem like they're not tough in general because I don't know.
It honestly, and I'm not trying to just piss you off or anything, it does remind me of after the 2021 Ohio State game, Aiden Hutchinson said something like, they were talking about it, we were about it. Like, they're doing all the talking, we're, like, actually doing. I don't know that I feel like it would have been better to just not say anything. Like, he keeps saying he's so tough, and his team is so tough. And, like, why don't you just keep winning? And
well, they just won. It was after a win that he said it.
Yeah, he yelled at an 86-year-old.
Yeah, he was just fired up.
Big Ten takeaways.
I don't know what you want me to say.
Yeah, no, we can move on.
I don't see how there could.
I don't think it's a big deal for the record.
Right? Yeah, I don't think there's any direction to go at this where Ryan Day shouldn't have gone on this rant. Like, I get it's kind of weird because he's an 86-year-old man. Like,
I just think it showed how soft Ryan Day is, to be honest.
Okay.
That he was that offended by Lou Holtz. Big Ten takeaways. Iowa went into Happy Valley on Saturday and got 4 first downs while committing 4 turnovers and ran just 33 offensive plays while giving up 31 points. Big Ten West. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, so nobody in the Big Ten West has played more than 2 conference games, and Wisconsin is the only undefeated team in the West. Other than Wisconsin, the West is a combined 2-7 in conference play, and those 2 teams that won a game have already lost a game. Meanwhile, the East has 3 conference losses combined, and they're I don't know what I wrote there. And their 3 losses in conference are all to other teams in the East.
Oh,
like Indiana lost to Ohio State, Michigan State lost to. Wait, they haven't lost a conference game yet.
Maryland.
Oh, Maryland, duh, yeah, lost to Then who's the third one? I don't know. There's a third one somewhere.
Whatever.
Oh, Michigan beat Rutgers.
Yeah. Yeah. One step further take. So it's not quite a hot take.
Yeah.
It's just like, let's push it a little bit. What do you got?
I think Kyle McCord is really going to start slinging the ball the rest of the season, and he or Marvin Harrison will win the Heisman, and possibly even both of them be invited to New York.
I was like, they're both going to win the Heisman.
No, possibly both of them invited.
The first split Heisman in history.
Dude, why not?
Mine is Ohio State just won a top 10 game on the road, as we all know, but they will not be undefeated entering the Michigan game. In fact, before the month of November, Ohio State will have at least 1 loss. They host Penn State on October 21st before heading to Camp Randall October 28th. I'm just saying, this on a smaller scale, because Ohio State is obviously better than what I'm about to reference. On a smaller scale, this reminded me of the Michigan-Notre Dame games where the winner went way up in the rankings and the loser dropped down a little bit, and then both teams were pretty mid at best at the end of the year. Ohio State is not mid. That's not what I'm saying. But I don't think they're the juggernaut they were. I think they could beat Michigan. I think they could beat both Penn State and Wisconsin. I just think they're as soft as Ryan Day.
I don't think they'll have issues with either of those teams.
I hope you're wrong. From that take, your crappy take, to the rapid fire dirt pile picks. Penn State favored by 26 at Northwestern. Penn State.
Northwestern just got a big win. Yeah, Penn State.
Okay. Louisiana at Minnesota. Minnesota just blew a game.
Yeah.
Cost me money on a bet. Minnesota is favored by 10. I got Minnesota. Friggin' PJ Fleck. Indiana at Maryland. Maryland's favored by 14.5. I'm surprised it's that low, to be honest. I got Maryland.
Yeah, Maryland.
Illinois at Purdue. The line is only 1.5 Purdue here.
Yeah. I like Illinois to win this game.
Really?
Yeah.
I got Purdue.
Yeah.
Mainly because it's at Purdue. Wagner at Rutgers. I got Rutgers.
Yeah, I got Rutgers.
Michigan State at Iowa, where the Iowa is favored by 11.5, but the game might not feature 11.5 points total scare.
Yeah, what's the over-under? That's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't even check.
Will either of these teams score over 11.5 points? I don't know, man. I
got Iowa 12-10.
I think I got Michigan State. I don't got a score here. I think Iowa's offense is just so bad, and we have not seen any kind of improvement. And I think Michigan State's defense is solid enough to keep Iowa low scoring enough to win. Like even if it's 6-3.
That's why I have Iowa 12-10, is I don't think they'll score a touchdown. However, I could see it 13-10 if they get a pick six. Or something.
Yeah.
But that's probably the only way.
I think if Michigan State takes care of the ball, they don't turn the ball over, Michigan State will win this game.
I mean, they have been turning it over the last couple of weeks, but
yeah.
Varsity game, since Ohio State is playing themselves. Michigan is favored by 18 at Nebraska. You go first.
Yeah, I didn't even hesitate on this one. I've picked Nebraska for upsets too many times, and they've let me down too many times. I got Michigan.
You really caught me off guard at first when you started with Nebraska has pulled off upsets.
Yeah.
I was like, no, possible.
No, I've picked them for upsets, and and most of the time that I pick them for upsets, they take it down to the wire and blow it. But
yeah,
I got Michigan. I think they'll win it handily.
Nebraska does.
They won't cover the 18.5 point spread. I mean, the 18-point spread, but.
I'm glad they finally adjusted the spread to something more reasonable for Michigan.
I don't even know if that's reasonable.
I mean, it is compared to like the 40-point spread and whatever. But
24 against Rutgers.
Yeah.
24.5 because they covered. But
Nebraska's quarterback Heinrich Haarberg, great name, has 278 yards passing and 272 rushing. Through 2 games that he's played. I stopped following
Nebraska. They benched that guy. What was his name? Jeff Sims? Mm-hmm. He was terrible. I'm so glad they benched him. Maybe they got a shot.
Heinrich Haarberg is a walk-on, and his name is Heinrich Haarberg, so I like him.
He can't be worse than Jeff Sims.
No. But it's funny that Nebraska started off with a 13-10 loss to Minnesota. Mm-hmm. That somehow ended up looking worse now. And then a 36-14 loss to Colorado that arguably looks worse now.
Yeah.
Also, last week they only beat Louisiana Tech 28-14. I don't think Nebraska's defense is that bad, but I do think they'll lose by this more reasonable spread that seemingly has been adjusted to the pace of play and the clock rules or something else. I don't know. But honestly, I think this is another game where I'll get texts at halftime, like what's going on with Michigan. And then in reality, they'll just have had one possession without points or something and then win by 3 or 4 scores. I'm going to say Michigan 34-6. I think they pull away more at the end, and I don't know.
I don't know.
Game of the week, Kansas at Texas. I'm surprised Texas is favored by 17.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised they're favored, but
right. I mean, other than the Alabama game, they really haven't looked great. Like they haven't looked like an incredible team. The Wyoming game, they really struggled, which they pulled away at the end with some defensive touchdowns. But yeah, I still have Texas here, but 17 points. That is a big spread. I got Texas by 5.
I got Texas by 11. 38-27 is my guess. Things no one is talking about.
So there's this narrative being pushed before the Notre Dame game, and then how has been a little bit doubled down on. You're doubling down after after the win of Ohio State, that they can't win big games. Specifically, that Ryan Day can't win big games, but He just beat another top 10 team on the road, and that puts him at 16-6 against AP ranked opponents all time, which is now the highest winning percentage in FBS history against ranked opponents. Ryan Day.
Cool.
The other guys on that list: Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, some other guys. I don't remember.
Nick Saban. Never mind. I was gonna say never lost to Michigan. But he was at MSU and he did lose to Michigan.
Yeah.
I hear about the Pac-12 showing dominance in their swan song season before they play each other.
I think I'm a little young for that. What does swan song mean?
They're like final. It's like their last lap type thing.
But like, what does that mean, swan song?
I don't know. You can Google it later.
Yeah, I just feel like
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone say that before, so I mean, I kind of figured out what it meant from the context, but I feel like sometimes there's usually like a backstory to it. I'm kind of interested now.
Yeah, now I want to Google it too.
Yeah.
After the show. But if it doesn't matter that Pac-12 teams haven't played each other yet, I think we should be hearing more about how the Big Ten East has 3 teams in the top 6.
Yeah.
I feel like we haven't heard about it at all.
Yeah.
What?
Well, like I said, there's only 3 conference losses. Not that really matters.
Yeah.
In the division, they're all to each other.
But the Big Ten East has the 2nd, 4th, and 6th ranked teams in the country. They should be treated like the SEC has been treated historically, but it feels like they're getting treated more like people normally treat the Pac-12.
Right, and those 3 teams there's not a lot of teams that are still up there that far that started up there that far. Like all 3 of them started up probably in the top 6. I think Penn State was 6 or 7 preseason, and Ohio State was 4, whatever, and Michigan was 2.
Right.
Georgia's still up there. Florida State's moved up into there. Texas moved up into there. Yeah.
Yeah. Tweet of the week. You don't have one?
Yeah, I don't have one.
Mine is from Austin Keeney. Sources. Michigan State is considering Iowa offensive coordinator Brian Ferentz for the head coaching gig. The school is said to be looking for someone that is not offensive after losing Mel Tucker in scandal. I just think that's so great.
That's my tweet of the week, too.
Yeah, that's just so good. That's good enough for both of us. And it's a good one to end on.
Yeah.
So until next week, which will be Tuesday instead of Friday,
Yeah.
go Blue.
Go Buckeyes.